Okay.
All right,
I'm ready.
Yeah. So we'll take a look here. It'll be Falcons. It'll be Lee Jang Tower, the Baptiste gun, and Tracer. So
and Merit's like broadly aware of where Lethal is out towards the middle of the map.
Low.
Yeah, much of that Sojourn damage was committed into the Ramatra. Lethal realizes now Merit has a good sightline on him, so he's going to reposition, but everyone just got funneled into the choke where Proper was able to pop up from under them and tear them to shreds.
The damage that Merit is putting down from that off angle is crazy. I mean,
grouping up against a really good Venture is like a pretty inadvisable concept. Geekay hoping that Falcons do the same thing, but Merit's always going to be an off angle. You can see him here just wrapping around that right-hand side. Builder playing a little bit solo right now, but of course can swift step back to the action where he's needed. And Proper sees an opportunity to go after Admiral here, but might have missed his window. Now sees UV low. He's handled for him, and Proper, well, he was a passenger princess in that fight.
I think, though, if they don't play a little bit closer, give himself a little bit more protection, but just too long for the healing to come on through. UV almost dies here going through the choke.
Here comes the rush. Are Geekay going to be ready for this is the question. Kuffer knocked back briefly. Proper is in the middle of it, and he gets topped up nicely. That healing throughput increase because the Kitsune rush means that it's fairly straightforward for Fielder. Give everybody a little bit of the juice. There's just not been much game here from Geekay whatsoever.
This is rough too. This is going to be a really crazy fight here over by the stairs.
Yeah. Pops up in between Kuffer and the rest of his back line. Tectonic Shock is popping. Proper wants to get to a safer location to maybe wait out some of this sound barrier. Admiral clapped. On one side it was a Tech Shock, the other was an overclock, and Merit just plugs one straight between his eyes. Lethal's going to struggle here. Proper with a drill rush finds the damage. It's just too easy. Someone's looking healthy here, even though he's in a 1 versus 3. Eventually he has to fall. Merit's going to come back in off that off-angle assignment, and here's Proper appearing with a flourish. Cops a left hook from Kuffer though, and is taken out of the fight early. Merit though has other plans. He's going to work his way through Admiral, and Kuffer now is out at sea without a paddle screaming Wilson, but nobody's there to hear him.
Man.
It's 100-0 in our first round.
Come on. Playing the Sojourn as opposed to the last round, playing some Cassidy where you know, you need to see him come alive, pick up these railgun shots. That's one he would love to have back. Had an off angle, a clear shot on Method. Merit just missed.
Yeah, a small thing, honestly. Falcons TP out of Sport and are able to get into the middle of the map a little bit earlier. Right? They have priority, we'll call it. Geekay have to try to find a way in off that bridge. Starts poorly and it ends in much the same fashion.
And obviously you don't want to make it any easier for a team like Falcons to get reads.
Yeah, it's pretty face up, and that's exactly what Falcons want. Something that's a little predictable, something that they can at least understand the parameters of. Kuffer's getting pounded here. Someone, though, taking his fair share of damage as well, as we see a regroup behind the shield for Geekay. Proper wants to work the flanks here, but doesn't want to overcommit quite yet. Chio's been picked up, though. Limon looks like he just took matters into his own hands. But Chio being the first casualty, the rest of Falcons will topple.
That's huge. I mean, if Limon's able to get some of these kills,
Trouble some Vortex thrown in the midst of Falcons here. They've got to handle that first. Lethal, oh my goodness! Merit stands still a little too long, perhaps, and Lethal's not the kind of player that's going to miss a golden opportunity like that. Build with a self-Suzu, but hits a kunai onto Lethal, who's going to back away and quickly be topped up by UV. Proper's going to sort of take a beat here now with the Kitsune rush in play. Someone doesn't want to get over-aggressive into the Tectonic Shock, and it cuts through. Even with someone standing in the way, my moan gets around him.
Well, it's a Kitsune rush from UV.
Someone's going to step up here and again look to take that position. My moan will be looking for flanking opportunities again here. You've got to be aware of that if you're Falcons. Keep your backsides safe. Someone sees Kuffer try and blow past him, but Kuffer doesn't really have the help to get away with this. This could be ugly. Tech shot for Proper. Sound barrier is belated, and Lethal is not able to be protected from this push. Now Proper can really pick his poison. Looking to maybe move away from Kuffer as someone's happy to tie the Ramatra up and hold on to his own annihilation. That is a tough fight for Geekay. Proper, of course, can extricate himself from the grasp of the holographic fishies.
AC Proper.
Oh, he's so far forward.
But he's going to get a burrow. He's going to put in some decent damage down here. He's going to back up here and get right behind that Ramatra shield.
And that splash damage, though, that Proper's able to get on the Venture is pretty terrifying in these kind of close quarters. Mamone ducks back, he's low. Drill rushes back towards the rest of his team, but Kuffer's also struggling. Ultraviolet tried to hit the panic button with the Kitsune rush that came out, but Merit has the perfect off angle for him. And Kuffer doesn't last much longer, folks. Merit is stacking up the frags.
And I don't know who's going to be able to get a touch. It might have to be Lethal. He's going to get through the window with some help of AG.AL.
Now, of all people he's called on, and he even gets Chio on his way in, but it's really just a desperate grasp, a reach here for the point with the tectonic shot from MyMoon. Finds himself 3 off the Richter scale. It's the Welshman. And that has given GK away back into the round. Falcons, in fact, don't have the time to really contest this adequately. Ultraviolet handles someone. Chio tried to touch, but I don't think it's to be.
Nice move.
An even map we have. All right, we're going to keep going here over to Night Market now as GK find an unlikely round win there. MyMoon really stepping up, stepping forth, but Cuffer is already hammered.
And so much pressure on him. I just don't know how they're able to keep him upright.
Well, with the Lucio Kiri setup, it is quite challenging.
Yeah.
Sojourn's damage is pretty out of this world. Oh my little 1-2 punch. Yeah, MyMoon, nothing he could do about that one. Get around the map pretty easily with that drill rush like we saw. Cuffer wants a fight here, looking behind his opposite number, and someone sees Merit in a bit of an odd position, but he gets a Suzu, and honestly, he's really hard to catch in that position.
And that Suzu may have actually kept Merit alive. He's quite low, stops him in his tracks from hunting him down, so he'll be above 60% and counting now on the point here for Falcons. And Merit, I mean, he's just asleep as Memo takes him out.
Yeah, heads up from MyMoon, he's able to wrap around Merit, maybe thinking because he had Chio close by, he'd be safe there. Not the case, not whatsoever. MyMoon here, looking to get out of the vortex. Kitsune Rush is going to be committed to this fight by Falcons, which is an odd decision considering how short-handed they were.
Lethal comes alive on the Sojourn. You're in a spot where you can run this percentage up pretty quick.
Propper's hunting.
A huge early pick. That's a sound barrier, so you're not going to be able to use it.
And that's not ideal for Falcons. I mean, they'd be advised to hold on to everything right now. They get a sound barrier out of GK, which they've got to feel is at least a bit of consolation. Can the Falcons do more here? Someone's waiting for that mega health pack respawn, but in fact, this is a sound barrier that's committed because Falcons have all their players back now. They're going to go for this. And
nice vortex, though.
Yeah, they use that beat to get pretty close, though, and they picked off MyMoon. Dangerous times here for Lethal, and he knows it. He's able to handle himself quite well. As Propper was trying to take him out of the fight. Falcons now getting a little bit shaky. Now starting to lose their grip on this map. Just slowing someone down, forcing him to try and wade through molasses. MyMoon back to the point, doesn't want to get caught out in an extended flank fight against Propper, but he's popped up behind them. MyMoon with the tech shock down is going to let it go in just a second. Over onto the point as Kitsune Rush in play, though. UV's low, got to be careful, but Propper's turned tail. He's trying to get out of there, and it's a full-scale rout for Falcons. They're in trouble. Sound barrier now committed by GK, and they know victory's within their grasp. Onto the point they push it. Chio is felled, and how about them apples, folks? Unreal stuff from Geekay Esports. Falcons in drips and drabs may have underestimated their opponents, and it's come back to bite them in our first map.
Ramatra's a hero that everybody loves combining with the sim, so especially on New Junk City, a rush-style map. This one's going to produce a little bit of a different result in terms of comps.
And the Ramatra's like a Cuffer signature hero as well. Tracer and Soj for Falcons.
Well, if you can get
it's so interesting. Okay! All right, out of nowhere, Lethal's able to pick Propper off. Not a good start here for Falcons. The Turk issues a stern challenge right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get a May wall, right? Separate with it like the Arisa or something along those lines.
Just dominate him, that's a different story. All right, MyMoon, you're on the May. Tough job, and we rarely see this pick on this map, honestly. Merit just able to punish at that medium range now as Ultraviolet's defensive architecture starting to be chewed through. That flashbang did not hit as Merit slid past.
Up on the high ground, it'll actually keep Puppa alive for just a bit longer. So you're going to get up to like about 80, 85% here. You have some other players funneling on in. And then will it end up flipping? But yeah, pretty good start.
Let Cuffer at least get onto the point and start this cap. That's given them some time, and now Falcons have to contest, leaving Lethal in a pretty good position to play from. He's got to respect, though, what Merit can do now with an overclock in play. Ultraviolet trying to dodge and dive away, but will be brought down by Propper on this Tracer. Sound barrier committed by GK anyway, but it's a very unconvincing showing for them. This will let Falcons potentially take this flashpoint away.
Yeah, maybe they thought that sound barrier was going to come down in time to save UV, but it does not, so it kind of goes for waste there. Potentially, it's also, it's final fight on that point.
Cuffer here can mantle. And again, you'll notice he's mostly ignoring someone. It's just not the kind of matchup he wants to opt into at all.
That's the immortality field right away.
Yeah, burned very early, Matt, before the rubber really hits the road in this fight. That key cooldown is, what? Oh man, that is nasty stuff. Proper caught out in the open, and Lethal goes to work on Merit. Geekay don't even get punished for using that immortality field early. That is just straight up winning in a neutral fight.
Before another blink was active and just got picked off.
I really feel like Cassidy here at the mid-season championship, Matt, has looked better than ever, especially in his ability to control those flankers. All right, well, Fortify ×2 as we see someone dive into the midst. Sucks them all in. And Team Falcons really able to dispatch those hindered GK players. Gaffer heads for the hills.
Falcons comes up with the rest of the pick, says, see, Maimon has ult here. You're going to use it to split the point.
Okay, high ground not being contested though. GK had to give that up in order to play the point, which is dangerous here, especially when Merit has his pick of the litter in terms of targets, and there's Ultraviolet trying to cross, and even with a symbol in play, he gets brought down. That's the whole reason for you to deploy that ultimate in this fight. It's well and truly expired now, as has the life force of GK. They've lost the vim and vigor they displayed in the first map and on the first flashpoint. Now they're going to get staggered out. Excruciatingly lethal. Will have to exit the old-fashioned way.
It's brutal. I mean, I think you're going to have to give up this point here if you're Geekay. No way you're going to do it without your star hit scan, as Lethal just gets staggered for what feels like forever.
Going to be GK start with priority. Someone stepping up now. Sound barrier going to be thrown in by Chia, but Maimon got picked off. So very good start here for Falcons. Lost fielder here. Lethal looking dangerous. Force an early recall. Oh, no. Okay. Able to blink. Stay back on the map here. Gets rid of the immortality field and then comes back for Lethal. Good recovery there from the young gun. The Merit realizes there's no more fight to be had here. Looking much better now. Bit of an ultimate trough, though, for them, so these first picks become that much more important when your enemy has a larger arsenal to bring to bear. GK try and go after a target caught out on the side. It's actually Merit gets hit with a flashbang. Someone with a Terror Surge committed. Cuffer wants to try and back around and notices that Fielder can swift step away. And in the meantime, classic misdirection. Proper's able to get into the back line while GK are distracted chasing after a Kiriko.
It feels like Geekay gets off to a good start, and then once Falcons gets it and starts rolling, it is all Team Falcons. As you lose Kappa here towards the end.
Okay, Ultraviolet trying to find proper there around that amplification matrix. Immortality field still in hand for Ultraviolet though, as Kappa realizes that into the Katsuna Rush is not where he wants to be diving. Backs up for a moment, but this is time for Falcons to get closer to a map win. Lethal knocked out of the Deadeye, and I don't think Proper cared at all about the flashbang when he had the sound barrier protecting him. Amaral beats down only for 2 players though, and that is just not going to be enough. He tries to skitter away and gets past that disruptor shot, hiding in the corner now, spotted out by Merit. Proper comes to call, and when he knocks at your door, you best be opening it up. Team Falcons now have been able to bring GK down to earth after an unlikely first map win, evening up the series. On New Junk City it looked like it was more like Saturn's gravity. They got smushed by Team Falcons, who came out with a vengeance in that map. And Proper was back on the Tracer, and he made sure we all knew it. Something that Ramatra very much is happy to have on his side as Kaffa starts to build towards that annihilation. There's the Tree of Life, starting to block the way a little bit. Lethal has to work around the edges of it. Very healthy GK right now. A lot of healing for them, whereas Fielder has to fight tooth and nail to keep his team standing. He himself takes a railgun from long range and has to duck out of LOS. But he's kept Falcon standing. Now for the annihilation, the next challenge is something Merit can't stand up to. Orbit Array comes in from Chio, and Falcons know they've got to make use of this. A good disengage though from GK can't save Ultraviolet from Proper's questing ice spikes. Fielder finds yet another Suzu opportunity, but Proper could not get out of the blizzard from Maimon, setting up a kill on the enemy May, and Lethal settled in on this flanking high ground. Nice shot on the Fielder.
Yeah, they just had that one Suzu that used it onto someone, obviously, to get him out of the blizzard. Not able to help Proper, but this is not over to Geekay just yet.
Juno heals, man.
Yes, someone just playing in the corner. The Juno Kiri heals are still extremely good. It's going to need a big amount of burst damage like that from Lethal to finish him off. As took a little bit to materialize, but that's the first point for Geekay. Rip people, out over the other side of the walls as well. If somebody gets caught. Oh, nice play here. Ultraviolet jumps up from the low ground here with the Exo boots and drops the Amp Matrix, and they were caught off guard.
The main wall buys a couple of seconds for Falcons to get back, but it's not enough time as Kuffer just barges straight through. Big, bad, and he means business now. He throws a vortex in the direction of the rest of Falcons, but Admiral ducks back here a moment. Tree of Life now deployed. Kuffer gets the healing that he needs. Look at Fielder on that high ground. Off angle gets the Kitsune rush, but someone is frozen solid. Blizzard, a problem now. Proper's going to try and deploy his, but someone and Chio are already out of the picture. It was all Merit could do to find the May with that disruptor shot. But in general, Falcons are struggling in this matchup of compositions. This is fine for Geekay though. They've got a pretty decent standing here with over a minute left in the round. Fielder's taking a bit of damage already. Here comes that Tree of Life now. It's all about keeping Merit standing, and he pays it back in full. Ultraviolet falls, and that is a tough shot to hit with your opponent up on the high ground. Kuffer's going to back away. Lethal's in a great spot, though. Nicely done to follow up on that disruptor shot. The Tree of Life dissipates, and it's done its job by Mode committing a Blizzard, but there isn't enough follower damage here to try and find that kill on someone until Lethal gets involved. And now he's in the mix, throws himself into the eye of the storm. Disruptor shot thrown down, forces Fielder off to the side, and Chio has to duck and dodge behind that pillar. Back away and try and build that orbital ray because it's getting tough for Falcons. They're losing their grip on this defense. Merit tries to get back here on the Venture, which we rarely see from him. Will it be enough?
We'll see if he actually stays on it. It looks like for now he is. And, he just gets picked by UV.
Orbital ray's deployed.
Orbital ray, you're going to have to back up here if you're Kuffer. You're going to have the Annihilation.
Guys, it's getting tough though. Kuffer goes pretty low. Someone's going to pop his Annihilation as well. Kuffer knows he has the healing. It's coming at him from that high ground there. The Life Weaver is still in play, and an Amp Matrix from Ultraviolet means that he can keep his tank standing. There's a shot from Maimone. The Endothermic Blaster deals with Fielder, and look how far up Lethal has pushed. He knows just how close Geekay are to finishing the map. Blizzard here on the Kuffer. Nobody there to bring him down after the fact that when someone's getting straight up bullied. Suzu there to shrug off the slow, but everybody surrounds the Ramatra. Merit would be the last player standing. Another Tree of Life amid the verdant fields. Geekay dance around the maypole here at the end of the map. Should be a couple moments in overtime is where they're looking to try and get it home. Fielder steps up. Suzu's himself proper now under extreme scrutiny, trying to dodge and dock away. And it's not going to do it. Chio fades on in there one after another. Falcons hoping to find a way to get a foothold on this defense, but that's a cheeky pedal that sends him skyward. Merit should be the last line of defense here. Recalls out, tries to keep it going, but it's all for naught. Falcons have to concede that final checkpoint.
Chio's best hero is Lucio by far, right? So taking that away from him, obviously can handle Juno, but you really think of Lucio when you think of Chio.
A war of attrition. The Falcons are just far more confident in here in these front lines. For all Admiral's healing output, he's not able to keep them standing. Knows he can hang around, but that Ice Wall makes it impossible for him to pursue, and now he's going to try and contest the card. Kuffer now needs to put himself where the objective is and can't afford to go up to proper, so he's probably uncontested there. Nicely done by Ultraviolet. Finally, someone is brought to heal.
And they use a Kitsune rush there for Falcons.
The life grip comes down. Geekay took his space for free.
That was the Blizzard, and then a nice pedal to lift them up.
Yeah, beautifully done. That is denied, and now there's going to be a Tree of Life in play. This is getting a little bit scary for someone who's now going to commit his own ultimate. Pulsar torpedoes are going to have to be enough to keep him standing, and someone was able to get Maimone there, but has to give up his life, and that's not a trade you can afford to take if you're Team Falcons. Kuffer knows his advantage in this fight. We'll push up and control this corner, force Falcons to wait for their tank to return, and we're under the 90-second mark for Falcons.
As Maimone looks like he's going to be coming back on Venture here, as Fielder and Proper off to the side. You're going to lose both. The bubble's going to be so good for the Venture.
But it does always feel like a little bit of desperation. Yes, there's a lot of charge to be farmed off of a Venture that gets a bubble, but it takes a bit to get all these moving parts working, and Proper is very, very deep. It's Merito with the bowler shot from long range, catches that Ultraviolet, deals with an Immortality Field and the Baptiste all in one fell swoop. And finally, Falcons find the Brawl formula to get them this first checkpoint.
Not the end of the world, though, for Geekay. If you're Geekay, you need to just kind of get composed.
Oh my.
Recenter at the moment. They're going to try and attack this, though, yet again. Lethal jumps on, get us into OT, and Kuppa's going to come down on the Doom. Not going to make much out of this, though. UV decides to end up using the Amp Matrix here, too.
So GK using each and every one of these ultimates to levy attacks on Falcons, force them to take their time, to step back, and now they've got to go. They know they have to try and take the objective here. Someone steps up, looking for the backline. GK very wary of this Graviton surge, and they split. Kuffer off to the left. In the backcourt, you can see Lethal there, and there's a grab thrown in at 3. Pedal, though, might have saved him. Bowler shot comes in, but GK able to withstand that old combo and stay allowed to fight. What an immortality field there from Ultraviolet, and now they're fighting fit. Field has been taken down, and my moment's in no hurry to move out into the open. It's Kuffer to try and hold this space, but he's low. It doesn't matter. He's bought enough time for Lethal to get rid of someone, in the life grip comes in on Kuffer, keeps him standing in. Now the Annihilation will pick onto his foes. Orbit Array completely eclipsed here by the radius of GK as the Tree of Life keeps him sheltered. Healing still comes through, and Merit's trying to pilot this off angle, but Proper's going low and deep. Fielder went through the Suzu, and he found 1 kill, and that's not enough. What are we witnessing here? They can't even believe it themselves.
They look at Admiral, and they're all just like, you are so good.
They
always
grab
fight with the grab.
and threw a bowler shot in.
Yeah, and they just got lifted right out of it.
In any other world, that is an instant fight win.
Yeah, and now you have the Orisa ban here for Geekay, so that would excel for that Hero's kit as that's a TP up to the high ground here, getting Kappa in a position to try and push Proper back.
Yeah, so the question is, like, what is achieved in a Kappa's absence while he's trying to push up on Proper's position? He is away from the rest of his team, and it kind of opens things up for Merit, who finds his way towards Ultraviolet. It's a backline down already for GK. Not the start they were looking for it, and don't get me wrong, they were proactive, GK, in the aggressor's seat.
Yeah, but it's going to be both support ults gone here for Falcons. DK's going to be able to use this sim wall here, potentially sound barrier if needed.
Okay, Merit's gotten up behind him. I don't think someone's going to be able to get out alive, so GK been able to leverage the sound barrier to get rid of the enemy tank.
Going to push it into Falcons territory. It'll be an overclock here from Lethal. They send him up to the high ground there with that TP, a little bit of a threat. Now putting some shots into someone.
That overclock expires. Here's that Annihilation from someone. He uses it defensively, and it doesn't work out. Admiral gets close enough to boop him on away, and that's the elimination on the centerpiece of the Falcons. What is going on? Falcons crumbling before our very eyes. It's so early in the map too.
With the way they've been playing, they've been able to rattle off fights consistently here against Falcons in this series. So just getting the bot back into Falcons territory, and let's do that song and dance here in the middle of the map again.
Yeah, Falcons though, I don't know if the game plan can simply extend to wait until Proper finds an opening, because he needs help. He can't do it on his own. Sound barrier, that's a decent way to bolster the forces of Falcons, and they're able to run over GK.
They use both support ults on top of each other, so Kitsune rush there from UV.
I'm on point. Carry on down. Soy bottom right. Soy. Soy one. Let go. Watch your arm. Ram point. I'm on point. Ram's out. I'm on. Okay.
I'll be soiled. Ska vi ta klar med ben så?
Ja. Try top.
Solo. Kan vi TP vent? Ja, det är
TP vent. 3, 2, 1. Solid. Soy one.
Soil.
Nice.
Ram.
Arm. Gimme.
Go. Ram. I'm on. Trade point.
Look point. Okay. Come here.
Get one. You carry me. Hello. TP one?
Yeah. Give me one.
Now we'll see everybody drop down. Falcons happy to let the fight simmer a little bit here. That's a stick. Twice in quick succession. Proper's able to down Lethal, and now he's looking for his next target. Kuffer's very, very low, and in their own territory, GK are being strung out, hung, drawn, and quartered. Maimone trying to get towards the bot, and again it starts to shuffle away from GK. Here's a sound barrier. They've got to make good use of this one now as quickly they're able to overcome Falcons. They overwhelm them instantly. Someone, interestingly, opts to commit his Annihilation to this fight. It falls flat.
Yeah, and you have a Kitsune rush here for Falcons, so
Quite the deficit to make up for GK. Not only a checkpoint, but over 30 meters is the lead the Falcons have now as we head under 1:40 in the game. Ultraviolet under pressure, has to Suzu himself there. Merit playing from the fringes. It's a Kitsune rush coming down from GK, and they've got that Annihilation in reserve. They don't want to spend too heavy in the middle of the map, but they might not have any choice now with their sound barrier out of Chio. Merit on an off angle. Can't see the wood for the trees, apparently, as Chio is down by the Annihilation, but the rest of Falcons able to snap back into the fight. And Merit will return. with a wide field of options. My own TP's out, and before he does, caught inside that vortex. Here come Falcons, not content to let this one slip through their fingers.
The proper tracer just causing havoc for Geekay. That's lethal. It's like, how are they going to stop this? It's like, hey, that's one way. Lethal flies around the corner.
A Deadeye will expire. Lethal might look for a solo flank here. Chio, Fielder now both aware of it. That was a very early Suzu out there from Fielder, but it's worked out. It keeps them standing, and someone's going to slurp them down in the midst of the maelstrom. Falcons with a 5v3 scenario. See Kappa just trying to gum up the works here, but it's nothing but desperation for Geekay, and they're out of options. Team Falcons, not to be outdone, will drag them kicking and screaming into a final map. One way or another, the Apex Predators will force you to make them bend. This is the kind of decision you don't want to make lightly. Blizzard World is picked. Well, heading in there momentarily. See if these bans are in fact the case. What an opening. You just cannot count on that kind of stuff from your hit scan, and Lethal seems to be delivering it with uncanny frequency. Proper though,
and they don't step up onto the point, so that's going to be point.
Just take it out from under them. Some mistakes starting to creep in now, a long series, and the fatigue turning up on the side of Falcons.
They do not want to give up this positioning, does Falcons.
To win the series, Maimone's got to find success in a Tracer Mirror against Proper of all people. And Kaffa, you see, as the Hazard is ignoring someone, is ignoring the frontline fight, looking to dive solo in some instances. Eventually, though, has to give up the high ground, and none of his DPS have been able to make severe inroads alongside him. Recalls there on the point. Proper went for a pulse bomb, but it caught out Ultraviolet, and he had to use that immortality field to stay alive, and Kaffa again loses out in the front line. Lethal knows at some point he's got to make a play, but there's a lot of risk involved in that. He finds the one pick, but it's not enough.
Oh, and they amp Matrix there too.
Surely it doesn't end like this, man. Geekay comes so far, so close to getting into these semi-finals, but here, they look like they've fallen into a stupor.
You lose Maimone here towards the end.
It's the kind of fires they've been forged in long ago. There's Geekay are the upstarts, the interlopers, the plucky challengers. Barrett sees the immortality field and cares not for an Admiral, just blowing up. He and Proper converge, and X marks the spot. Ultraviolet drops, and that's a backline absent now. As Geekay had hoped to advance the car a little bit further, but now without any healing to speak of, they're cooked.
I mean, this has been a 3-minute plus bloodbath here.
We spotlighted Maimone on the Tracer, matching up against one of the most storied Overwatch players of all time. He's got to give us something special here. It's going to take some magic from Geekay. And this one is anything but. Once again, they are turned into paste.
Yes, everybody just trying to fall maybe here as soon as possible. You don't even get to use some of these ultimates on the high ground. It'll be on Maimone to touch here. 10 seconds on the clock.
They're going to try and touch Admiral! Captain of the SS Ajax goes down with the ship. And Team Falcons are more than happy to capitalize. Oh, Geekay. They surprised us, delighted us, but now their backs are against the wall, Matt. That is an anemic attack push in our decider map of this last quarterfinal. Fielder being challenged there. Can't actually safely assume the higher ground because Lethal will have a line of sight on him. Constant pressure on this backline. Fielder has to immortality field himself. That's a good result. Nemo is dealt with. Geo now under pressure. Lethal only now realizing the problems. Pulled up in his front porch and Merit from the off angle. There's too many variables for Lethal to try and control, and Falcons eventually break through. It's a small trickle that turns into a flood, and now they wash over the defenders for this first checkpoint.
Yeah, the drone just a little bit too late to save Lethal.
Puffer tries to get himself a brief 1 versus 1. Slide back down, it's going to be an Ant Matrix in play. Oh, scary stuff! The downpour caught on the fielder. Oh, he wasn't safe behind a wall. It doesn't care about line of sight like that. That's a great pick. That is going to slow. Oh, buddy!
this is what you want to do. You want to get another, minute. I love this decision to go fast if you're Kappa.
I love this game plan. Again, it's the same. Be proactive, fall back when it gets risky. There's an annihilation from someone. He's trying to ignore Kuffer and go forward, but there's a sound barrier in play here for GK. Lethal with the higher ground. Someone looking a little bit low. He's in trouble. Mymone's able to pull him down, and our eyes are on Chio. Lethal slides away. Proper is able to chase him down. No, and Falcons using the aggression of GK against them. And Kuffer cannot contest in this state. He'll have to succumb. And they know exactly how to land this plane. Card inches forward a little bit further. It's an overclock here for Merit. Kuffer responds instantly, though Merit's getting topped up, and Kuffer takes too much damage. He's got to fall away. Mymone contesting the card to try and make sure no one sneaks it through, and Merit is playing conservatively, safely in fact. But there's the air matrix, and immediately Kuffer ceases to exist. Mymone's at least able to extract his pound of flesh. A trade comes out, but AG.AL is the next to fall. And the Apex Predators keep their sights squarely on the summit.